Hey, welcome back. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining the channel. Hope you're all well. Today on the bench I have a Sansui G-2000. I love these G series receivers. They're relatively new in regards to age. I think these were built in the 80s, but they still have the silver, they still stuck to the silver face and the big chunky knobs, aluminum knobs, and I love that look. This one's nice because it has dual meters, signal and tuning meters, and it's an analog tuner. So this was brought to me by one of my clients. He dropped it off. I believe he picked it up somewhere, probably like on Facebook or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the story behind it, and I don't think my client knows anything about it. So I just plugged it in. It's turned on, and we are drawing 9.6 watts. We got no lights on the front at all. Let's turn this off again. Let's see here if we can get radio going here. Source mode, stereo. Muting off. Okay, turn this back on. Oh, there's a light. It's kind of flickery. Goes on and off. So, what is getting squeaky noises out of the amplifier? Oops. This thing's not healthy, that's for sure. We probably try putting a tone into it. Alright, let's try this again on auxiliary. 9.4 watts. Auxiliary, yes. Balance left and right. Center, center. Turn on my generator would help me a lot. I'm getting a really quiet tone. That's full blast. It's just turning into distortion. Stereo mono switch. You get left channel. Nothing on the right. Nothing on the right channel at all. So it's pretty messed up. Pretty messed up. Here's a look at the face of this G2000. So we got a power switch here, rotary power switch, and bass treble controls with center detent, and volume, signal meter, and center tuning meter. That's probably for FM. We have a loudness button here in the middle, and your balance control in the center. Tuning knob, FM muting, stereo mono switch, a tape monitor, so one tape loop, and then we have our input selector, auxiliary, phono, FM, and AM, and then we have an input for mic mixing. There is a mic input here. I don't know if it's stereo or mono. Probably stereo. So I don't know if you noticed, but there's no speaker switches on this. That's because you can only run one set of speakers. This is a low power amplifier in this. I don't know what the specs are, but if I look it up, I bet you it's somewhere around 15-20 watts. Let's have a look at the back. Not much happening in the back here, but they have the traditional Sansui shelf. The main board is, and these input connectors are mounted on the main board, and the main board runs probably the whole length. This is your one speaker outputs. You have two courtesy outlets, sorry. Inputs for antennas, ground for your phono, and then you have your two inputs and one tape loop. And you also have a DIN connector for that tape loop as well. So yeah, there's a lot of dead space back here. So let's get the top off and we'll have a look inside. Alright, so it's got a wood top and sides, but it's not the wood grain that you think it is. This is actually just a vinyl print. A little bit of a scar here in the corner. Some paint splashes, little specks of paint. So maybe it was somebody's garage amplifier, who knows. Let's take this off and have a look. Everything looks good under here. And we are in So we got a big power transformer here. Not very big, but it is there. This here is our heatsink, and transistors are mounted on the opposite side. So I'd have to remove this black plastic cover to get at the transistors. Here's our main amplifier board here, and this is all tuner on the right hand side. Doesn't look too bad. Looks fairly clean inside, like it's a nice clean unit. Got a fuse there. That's a mains fuse, and then we have three looks like independent fuses here. We got 2 4 amps on the right hand side, and the one on the left I think is a 1 amp. I got it unplugged right now. I could pull these out. And the fuses all look intact, which is good, but I will check them anyway. Just get a meter here right now and do it. To remember it's unplugged right now, so I'm safe. That one's good. Good. The mains fuse is good, we know that. All fuses are good. Don't see anything right off the top here as to why we got no right channel and a weak left channel. Something obviously wrong in the power amplifier. But it could be in a preamp too, so it could be a preamp stage. We don't know yet. So let's see what we can do. Let's pull the bottom off. Actually, let's pull off this black plastic cover. This one here, and then we'll take the bottom off, and then we'll have full access. Okay, here's the bottom off. I can see the main amplifier board here, and the tuner board here. You can see it extends past the back and goes underneath. Everything looks good under here so far. I don't see anything burnt. Haven't seen any cracked joints, even though I just started looking. This does have provision for a second set of speakers. Here's the first set that we're using, and here's the second set. It's all vacant. And then there's a switch here that's not populated. That would be in with the power switch. So they have the power switch integrated with the speaker switch on the higher up models, and then they could have 2 sets of speaker outputs. But here's the back. Let me see here if we can get this in frame. Here's the back of the power amplifier. You can see our output devices and our speaker connector on the PCB board. And then we have our inputs on the tuner board. So I guess the first order of business is figure out why this thing is not producing correct audio. It is not. There's something definitely wrong with the audio amplifier. So let's power it up, and maybe we can poke around and figure out what's going on with this thing. Okay, a few things I'm noticing here. Turn to AM. If I put the mode into mono, the left channel comes back. If I put it on stereo, it disappears. There's something wrong with the switching in this thing. And I have no right channel. It's totally silent. See, that's on the right. If I turn it to the left, it starts to work a bit. This is AM. AM tuner works.
Industrial.com. Do you have tickets to an
Okay, FM. FM tuner is working. We just have no right channel, and there's something messed up with this switch. So that's interesting. Got no right channel whatsoever. Let's try feeding in a signal. Let me get set up for this. So what I got here is I got my signal generator, and it's applying 1 volt peak to peak, which is probably 300 and some millivolts RMS. And I got these 2 lines here that are running from the front business here to the back, which tell me these are probably the audio feeds for the input. There's 2 of them, a blue one and a gray one. So if I can contact my signal generator to the 1 pin on each channel, I should get a loud tone through the speaker. So let's try this. Watch your ears. Not getting anything on that channel. Let's try the other channel. Is this thing still on? No, I shut it off. Here we go. That's the left channel. The right channel's quiet and distorted. So we definitely have a problem in the right channel amplifier. The left channel seems working fine. So for this right channel, we might have a open transistor or a defective transistor, or we might have an open cap here too. The signal's getting through, but it's not, it's very heavily distorted and it's weak. So let's see what we can do about that. This thing does have the 2SA798, the double differential pair transistors mounted in one case. So that could be a problem. Okay, well this is a new one for me. I've never seen this before. I'll show you what I found just now. What I was doing is I was going through and checking the 4 power devices for shorts or opens. And I looked at this top one here. And let me zoom in so maybe you can see it too. I don't know if that focus is going to hold. It's having a little hard time with the focus. Look at those 2 pins on that transistor. They're touching. You see that? I don't know how the hell that happened. I don't think anybody's been in here. Nothing looks like it's been mechanically damaged. But I can measure between them. Let me zoom out. I can measure between them and I'm not getting a short. But I have a feeling this must have been a short circuit once upon a time. So let's see here. Oh, we do have a short here. Hang on, what's this? We have a base emitter short. Is that right? Let's pull that transistor out. We've got this one here. It's a PNP. It is a 2SB507 Sanyo part. So let's pull that transistor out and we'll see if that is our culprit. Okay. That is really weird. I've never seen that before. That looks like it was done at the factory like that, and maybe over time it made a connection. Let's pull that transistor out and check it. Okay, here we got it out. Let's check it one more time. So I was getting emitter base shorts. Let's check the 2 outside pins. And I still have a short. That junction seems fine, I think. And let's try reversing it. Yeah, that junction's fine. That one's shorted. Yes. So if this transistor shorted, I suspect the drivers will also be bloated. so we'll have to look back in the circuit to see what else has been damaged. Let me just put this in my little tester here just to look at the way those leads were almost touching there. Okay, let's put this in. I got a big blob of solder on there. Okay. See if we can get this to run. And it's going to show 2 back-to-back diodes. It's definitely messed up. Okay. That's good. We know what's wrong. So we got a couple of driver transistors in here. We're gonna have to pull these out and check them. I'll check them with my my diode check on my VOM first to see if we have anything here, and then I'll check these 2 emitter resistors. One of them might be open. Yeah. Okay, let's check the 2 emitter resistors on that channel. This is the first one, and this shows 0.5. Okay. Second one, 0.5. They're both good. Here's the other channel, 0.4, 0.5. Yeah, they're 0.33 ohm resistors plus my lead resistance of, I'm showing 0 now, but it looks good. Okay, so let's check these other 2 transistors. How can I get to them? They're way up top here. Let me try this. Lay this down. Okay, can you see that? Let's try this one. Nope. Reverse the leads. Looks good. Looks good. This one here. Looks fine. Looks fine. Okay, everything looks fine. I think what I might do is, there's some other resistors here I should check. This one is open. Okay, we have one open resistor there. That one's working. It's 150 ohms. And this one's open. Oh yeah, I can see that resistor is burnt from here. Couldn't see it before because it's in the shadows. Okay, so it looks like we got one, maybe we got 2 resistors open here. Check one more time. This resistor here, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be at here. This should be at 256. It looks like a 220, but it's measuring 256. So this is the other one. 261. Okay. But this one is definitely bad, and it is a, what is this resistor? It's supposed to be a 6.8 ohm resistor, I think, and it's open, fusible resistor. Let's have a look at the schematic. Okay, so here's a look at the right channel. This is the center line. Going up here is our speaker output, and goes into our feedback. Up here, here's our two power output devices, NPN, which is a 2SD313, and here's our PNP output device, which is our 2SP507. This one had a emitter to base short. Okay, now we checked the two emitter resistors; they were fine. I checked this transistor; it seemed fine. I didn't pull it out though. This resistor R76 is blown open, and this one here is a 6.8 ohm half watt fusible link, and that's open. So there must have been a heavy current that went through here on transistor 14. I suspect transistor 14 is bad. What I'm going to do is pull this one out and test it, and I'm going to pull transistor 12. I think this is 12 and 14 here. These are the drivers for the power devices. So I'm going to pull these two out and test them, make sure that they're good. If they are good, then everything's fine. We'll replace the resistor, the transistor, and it should work. But if we still have problems here, I might have to go back farther to check some of this circuitry, even in the bias circuit, because you know, usually when your outputs grenade and short circuit, it does damage further back, right? Because this resistor was open. It is open from having excessive current going through it. Excessive current going through this transistor would also damage it. So we're going to pay close attention to this transistor 14. Transistor 14 is a 2SA697. I probably have those in stock, or otherwise I could substitute something in here. There's complementary pairs that I could use for the drivers that'll work just fine in this application. This is a low power amplifier. I checked the specs, 16 watts per channel output, so it's not a big beast. Yeah, we got plus 28, minus 28 volts on the rails. So let's replace these two and pull this transistor 14. It is a 2SA697. We'll pull that one out and pull this one out, and we'll test them out of circuit. Let's see what we got here on this transistor. Yeah, that one's toast as well. This is the driver, transistor 14. Just make sure it's in there. Try one more time. Yeah, that transistor's garbage. And that is a 2SA697. Okay, let's check its complement too. I don't know about the complement. Alright, so I pulled out both driver transistors. The PNP is bad, the A697. The NPN is good. It's a C1211. This one's okay, but they're complementary pairs, and I don't have a A697, but I can substitute it in a 2SB647. These are more robust, and I'll get the complement to this. This is the complement to this would be a 2SD667, and I have those in stock. So I'll replace those two drivers. I'll replace that bad power transistor, and I think I might pull the other power transistor out of the complement just to check it, just to make sure. If it had a high current going through it, it might be damaged. But I'll check it in circuit, and then I'll pull it out and check it out of circuit. And then I still have to dig up a 6.8 ohm resistor. I don't have any new ones. I'll have to see if I can find something I can get in there and substitute. Okay, so I replaced 3 transistors, 1 resistor, and let's turn it on and try it out. So this is the right channel. It's not working, but it's only half working. We've got half a sine wave here. So I think I might still have another blown resistor somewhere. Let me look this one over good. I haven't even started looking at caps yet. Here's the right channel. Here's the left channel. This stereo mono switch has me baffled. Okay, there's the left channel. It's working good. Right channel, not so good. Alright, so I went back over and checked my work, and guess what? I found out I put a transistor in backwards. These boards are marked for emitter and base. I don't think they're marked for collector. But E and B look so similar on this board because it's like a green silk screen. Anyways, that's my excuse. I put the transistor in backwards and it didn't work, so I flipped it around. I also took the opportunity to recap the power amplifier, so I replaced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 caps so far, and that's the entire amplifier section except for these two. I think I might change these as well. I took these out and checked them. They're both 100%. Leave them alone. And then there's a power supply section here with some caps. I'll go to that in here. And tone board, there's lots of caps. So I'm going to probably end up recapping most of this. But we'll see how this works out here. Let's try this. Let's turn this on, turn the volume down. Turn it down to a low level. Turn it on. Here's our watt meter. And it jumped up to about 18 and it dropped down to 6.7 or so. Now, why don't I have a tone here? I have no input, that's why. Duh. Let's put an input into this. I think that's auxiliary. There it is. So we have right channel working. Let me try the balance. Okay, we have the right channel working. Doesn't sound correct or it doesn't look correct. Here, let me put you on the scope so you can see what's going on. Okay, top is left. And if I hit mono switch, our left channel comes back. This thing's messed up. Here's our right channel. Go to the right channel. Yeah, something's messed up here. Treble. It seems to be in the preamp section. Huh. Oh, here we go. I guess we got bad switches here. Yeah, very bad switches. Wow, these switches are switches are messed up. Okay. Anyways, we got our power amplifier working again. So we're going to have to focus our efforts on the switches in the preamp section. And some of these caps too, I think are done for. Because from what I've been checking when I'm taking them out, they're not the greatest condition, these caps. Left and right channel there. Alright, so we got a working power amplifier. Maybe what I'll do, since I got this up and running and it's warming up, maybe what I'll do is I'll do a bias adjustment on this. And from looking at the schematic, it looks like 10 millivolts across both emitter resistors. So it's 5 millivolts each. And I can do that right now. It's just one adjustment. There's no offset in the early stages of this amplifier. I did find a couple of resistors. These are supposed to be 220 at half watt, and they are measuring 250, 270. So I might go in here and check some of these resistors. I think they've been probably cooked, and they're off tolerance now. I'm going to check all these resistors actually, just to make sure that they're all spec. And the capacitor has been replaced, and that's pretty much it. Okay, I was going through the Sansui cleaning switches, and then I came across this problem. I actually removed this switch to clean it because there was no other way to get at the contacts. I could spray stuff in, but I didn't want to do that, so I just removed it. It was easy enough. There was, what, 10 or so pins on the back. And when I was putting it back in, that fell out. And that shaft is actually what controls the switch. So let's take it apart. Maybe we got some repairing to do here, because it shouldn't fall out like that, you wouldn't think. So let's take these springs off these ball bearings to start, and we'll take the ball bearings out. Okay, let's do this side. Actually, let's try this side here. Just push it down and out from underneath. There we go. And get rid of this ball bearing. This doesn't, we don't lose it. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna take off this, straighten these tangs out. I'll pry this off. Ouch. Okay. So what happened here? This thing's cracked. It appears to be cracked. Is that supposed to be just a friction fit? You know what I might do? I just might, yeah, it's, this plastic is cracked here. You see it? It's pretty, see the crack here and the crack here. And if I ease this off, yeah, it's not happy. You know, leave that alone. I think what I'm going to need to do is epoxy this back in. It's aluminum. I think epoxy works on aluminum. Pretty sure it does. This nylon bushing here, I don't know what purpose it's going to serve now. I could actually See, that's snipped off with cutters. It was snipped off both ends to make it that length, and then it was shoved in there. So it was supposed to, I think the nylon collar is supposed to lock it in, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anymore. Let me clean this. I'll clean this good, and then I'll mix up some epoxy and we'll glue this back on, and it won't come off again because we need that piece in there. And now I need to figure out, be careful these pins, I have to figure out how this gets aligned. Just like that. We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 positions here. It goes like this. Yeah. Let's get this glued up. Okay, so let's clean this first. I'm just going to use contact cleaner. Let's try and get some of the oils off of this. And I just basically want to think, where is that piece? Did I lose it already? It can't be lost. Oh, here it is. Let's give it an alcohol clean too. See if this will. I think the epoxy should work pretty good on this application. Okay, so let's put this aside. Let's mix up some epoxy. There we go. It should be enough. I'm going to put a little bit on the outside here and just glue this nylon thing back in place. And then we'll get some inside too. So let's see here. This should go like there we go. And then this drops down inside. I'm going to clamp it. I don't know if it's going to make any difference. Make sure it's straight. Try clamping it. There. You let that set up, and then we'll reassemble. So we let this set up for a couple hours. Let's take this off. And I think that's going to do the business. Now we need to align this somehow. So if I turn this, which way's up? It doesn't really matter. This does matter. I need to match this with the front panel. Where is the front panel? Dig that out. Let me have a look. Okay, so it only fits on one way. This locator here, this would be the top of the switch. So this goes like this. Now we need to figure out if this switch is completely clockwise and completely counterclockwise. Does it line up? Okay, I think that's correct. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 positions there. Okay, that's it. Let's put it together. Ouch. Let's lock these in. Good. Let's get this lubricated. Get the ball indents. Okay, this side. A little bit of grease. Let's put one of these balls in. I need a rag. Okay, let's clean this off. Yuck. Get rid of this. Huh. Doesn't want to play nice. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Other side. All right, I think we're all fixed and ready to go back in. Just going to straighten this pin. And we can reinstall this. All right, so I did a lot of work on the switches yesterday. Remove switches, clean them, put them all back in. This switch as well. I just want to do a test here before I start closing things up, because if there's anything I need to address it now. So let's turn this on. I got hooked up to a 1000 hertz tone and some speakers. And if I plugged it in, we could I could show you how it works, but give me a sec here. Okay, we're plugged in now. Well, that's interesting. I installed the cap backwards. Okay, so it's the next day. I did a lot of work yesterday on these switches here. This main function switch. Disassemble it, clean these switches. These were bad too. This one. Clean the pots. I just want to make sure before I assemble this, because there's a lot of work in disassembly, assembly. Just want to make sure we're all good before I put this all back together. So I got it hooked up to a 1000 hertz tone. I got it fed in, speakers, volume control, set it up a little bit, turn this on. Got it powered up. Okay. Left channel. Right channel. Right channel seems louder. I'll have to confirm that. Got FM, let's turn the muting. Which one's muting? This one. Getting stereo. Okay. Phono, I believe that's phono. Getting a lot of noise in the phone. Okay, turn this down. Turn this to auxiliary. Seems to be all working. Let me try the. Still a little dirty. Bass and treble are still dirty. Sorry. Okay. Let me scope the output before I confirm this, because that one channel sounds a little different than the other. I might have an imbalance there. Let me try this with the scope. Okay, so here's a look at the scope. Turning up the volume on both channels. And I'm just going to slowly take it out. I got no load on right now. Take it up to clipping. There's clipping. But we do have a discrepancy here. Let me show you. With okay, turn this down. A slight difference in the channels. Let me turn up the slight difference in the volume. Maybe not. It's tracking pretty close together. Okay, so I still have to clean the treble bass pot and the balance pot better, and then we can wrap this up. Everything else seems good. Alright, so I'm working on lamps right now. I'm going to replace the incandescents with LEDs. And I had some funny power issues, like the power was coming on and off, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I thought maybe I had a blown fuse, I don't know. So I was checking the continuity of these fuses. I got it unplugged right now. And these two fuses here were loose. The spring connectors were stretched out. So I squeezed them back together. Had a look at the fuses themselves. And these are 5 amp, 250 volts. And these are supposed to be 4 amp fuses. So somebody put 5 amp fuses in here. So I'll change those. Give me a second. Okay, got 2 4 amp fuses. This is for the power amplifier anyways. It's not... I don't know why a power amplifier that has 16 watts per channel output needs 4 amp fuses. But it does. Okay, so that's together now, and I should be able to get a voltage back here. I was reading. Let me turn this around. I was trying to get a voltage off this motherboard here. Let me turn this on. Plug this back in. Okay, so if I turn this on, I should now be getting a voltage here. I wasn't getting anything before. There we go, 23.6. That's out of the... I needed to measure this, so I need to calculate my dropping resistor for the LEDs. My plan is, let's see here, I'll show you. 23.6, let me write that down. My plan is to get rid of these 2 light incandescent lamps and replace them with LEDs. From the looks of these, they're pretty tired looking. They've got the silvery coating on the inside. When they get looking like that, they're high hours and they're ready to blow anytime. So I'm going to get rid of these, even though they are working. Yeah, so I'll show you what I'm doing here. Okay, so the way it's wired up now is this secondary provides power for the power amplifiers. This secondary provides power for these 2 lamps, and it also provides power for the tuners. It's full wave rectified, it's filtered, and then it goes to a voltage regulator. So these 2 lamps are wired in series, and they're 8 volt 300 milliamp lamps. And they are attached across the secondary here through a 12 ohm resistor, I think it is. Yeah, 12 ohm, just to drop it a little more. And yeah, so I'm going to eliminate all this, and I'm going to attach a string of 3 LEDs in series with a dropping resistor, and I'm going to attach it across this DC output right here. It says 23 volts, but I measured 23.6. So I'm going to attach it here. So it'll be filtered and DC, and yeah, we'll get away from these incandescents. Alright, we got everything back together again and looking good. Nicely cleaned up. That's one thing I love about these Sansui G series receivers, is they have the great look to them. I'm a big fan of the chunky knobs and aluminum fronts. Okay, so let's. I'm hooked up for a bench test here, and I got my power ready to go. Let's turn this on, and we should be able to see auxiliary. Yes, we need auxiliary. Okay, here it comes. Take it up to full power. Wow. Let me adjust my probes here. This thing's putting out more power than it should. Let's go here and turn this up. Okay. That should be better. We can get a better scale on this. Both amps are working great. Well, there's our clipping. Turn it down a little bit. See, I got either that or that. There's no in between. So right now it is delivering 12.3 volts RMS into the load, 8 ohm load. Let's let this go for a while. Let's see how it does. Here's what we're consuming under full power, 85.7 watts. Surprisingly enough, when you turn this down, it idles very low, around 10 watts, 7.3 right now because the amplifier is warmed up. But it averages about 10 watts, and that's very good for a receiver that you want to turn on and leave on all day and listen to music. It's consuming very little power. It's quite efficient that way. So we'll just let this go for a while. This is starting to warm up. Oh yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to shut this down. It's been about 4 minutes now, full power. Heatsink's starting to get, it's still around 50 degrees C. It's not even that hot yet. So I'm going to turn it down. Let's try some square waves. Okay, and tone controls are centered. Okay, we got a square wave, 1000 hertz tone. Let's turn it on. It's a little bit of coloration from the tone controls. There's a bass boost, bass cut. There's a few clicks here in the middle that really has no effect. Here's treble boost, treble cut. Oh, we still got a noisy pot here. So there it is. It's a nice square wave. No ringing. Let's try a little frequency here. Let's try 5 kilohertz. Still looking good at 5 kilohertz. Let's try 10. It's 10 kilohertz. Starting to see the rounded edges. That's pretty good for an amplifier this caliber. 10 kilohertz square wave, that's pretty darn good, I think. So I think we're in for some good sounding music here. So what I'm going to do is shut this off and wrap this up. Well, here's the parts I put into it. 14 caps. I replaced a lot of these just because they are the Elna. These are supposed to be low leakage caps. They have the epoxy bottoms, and not that they were bad, it's just that they had a really high ESR, and a lot of these, for example, these let's see, these ones here are 1 microfarad, and they had ESR up in the 100 ohms range. If you replace it with a film cap, that drops to like a 1 ohm, and it's quite a big difference, dramatic difference. Some of these other ones, I found a lot of the caps were really good, even better than what I would have replaced it with, so I left them in and didn't touch them, but some of these were weak. So that's why I got a partial recap on this. This was the power amplifier damage. We had 1 power output transistor, 1 dead driver transistor. I replaced the complement to it. Had a open resistor And these two are way out of tolerance for 5%. These are 220 ohms, but they measured 245, and one was 265. So they were way out, way past the 5%. And then I got rid of these tired old lamps. These are about to burn out anyways. You can see how they get silver on the inside and they get smoked. That means that they're at the end of their life. So I replaced that with LEDs. So overall, not too bad. Yeah, let's have a little listen to the radio. Okay. I might turn up the volume on the LEDs. They seem like a little dim, but if I turn the lighting off, you can see it looks all right. Compared to off and on, it looks all right. In a dim room, it's really good, but in a bright room, it's not quite as bright as I like it to be. So I could change that. It's just the value of a resistor I could remove and replace. So anyways, let's see what we got on the FM band. Not great signals. I haven't done anything to the tuner. I think it's working fine.
This new radio station, playing relaxing favorites 24 hours a day.
96.3, The Breeze.
There's no problem pulling in weak stereo stations. It's picking up all the stations. We've got some strong ones on the top end of the band. We'll see how they...
Up 99.3 believes in being accountable to you, the listener, which is why we participate.
It's getting them all. There's a strong one. It's measuring 4/4 on the bars here. Well, it's working pretty good. AM works fine too. I didn't touch up any of the tuning or the adjustments.
100%. Well, actually 105%. Even though
I'm getting swamped with hash noise.
in California, back in 1993, for Global News Radio 880 Edmonton, I'm Shay Gavin. Shock deals on furniture. BC News travels to a special.
It's getting a lot of AM stations too. It's got a internal bar antenna. So it's picking up nice strong local and some distant. It's also picking up a lot of hash. So anyways, that's it for this one. It was a pleasure to work on, and I like these receivers. These are good. Yeah, every time I come across one of these Sansui receivers, makes me smile. So, all right, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.